The tension in the room was palpable as the two women sized each other up.
Have you made up your mind? My price isn't exactly low.
Is it a tough job?
Fair skin, beautiful face, a slender waist. Before she gets clingy, she's a cold goddess. After, she's a charming enchantress.
You guessed it right. Jessica specializes in dealing with mistresses. Before meeting Emily, she had already developed a typical scenario. Jessica glanced at the pointing fingers around and the mysterious man's back. Two words popped into her mind: sure defeat.
With the spirit of finding clients where there are none, I exerted tremendous effort to finally bring this heartbroken woman over.
Are you really capable?
The plump client in front of Jessica looked at her suspiciously. If it weren't for her successful cases, this woman might have already run away. That's a lot of money.
Miss, please wait. She held onto Emily's waist as she was about to leave, looking pitiful. Look at my face, and then at my slim, flawless figure. Don't you believe in me?
Emily finally stopped, raised an eyebrow, and explored.
Luckily, I have a strong heart, and my profession has given me thick skin. Otherwise, I would have wanted to crawl into a hole today.
Beautiful. Yes, but I don't see any advantage in you. After all, that woman is not to be underestimated. I can't just hire anyone.
Meanwhile,
Oh, she first noticed something was wrong when Emily took her notebook from the table. Considering how to secure this $1 million deal, her face turned slightly red. Miss, isn't it a bit inappropriate to peek at someone else's notes?
You can question my education, but you can't question my ability.
Jessica started beauty treatments at 18 and began preparing for how to make men fall for her at 19. It took her 5 years to master all the preferences of men. She excelled in music, chess, calligraphy, and painting. In cooking, she could warm a man's heart more frequently than his own mother.
I can guess a man's thoughts, hit his weak spots, and make him fall into my web. I know it all by heart. Hoping one day to be her own boss, make big money, and use her familiar tactics, sometimes charming, sometimes innocent face, perfect figure. In short, she takes on all the orders from deeply resentful women to punish unfaithful men.
Even heaven wants to feed her. Her first order is $1 million deal. Honestly, under her conditions, this woman couldn't say no. She finally nodded in satisfaction and signed the contract.
The target is a CEO named Michael. Age 32, height 185 centimeters, weight 64 kilograms.
When Jessica saw the photo, she glanced suspiciously at the woman beside her, hinting if she had the wrong person.
How could such a handsome man be your husband?
But the $50,000 deposit, oh my, her eyes sparkled.
A few more orders, and becoming a millionaire wouldn't be a dream. No more doubts.
That night, Jessica eagerly devoured the information sent by the employer, like his preferences, dislikes. That CEO Michael is just waiting to drown in her tender embrace.
Tomorrow, he'll be at a top-notch club. You should make an appearance. The employer then sent the address.
No problem. I guarantee that CEO Michael won't be able to walk away once he sees me.
The next morning, Jessica started preparing her weapons.
According to the information, the mistress is a Jessica type, so Michael must like Jessica. Therefore, my style should lean towards Jessica, but with a unique twist.
Combining her past research on men.
2 hours later.
Jessica sat painfully in a rented luxury car, waiting.
Do you know how expensive it is to rent such a car for a day? Can the employer reimburse me, please? But for the sake of victory, all this effort is worth it.
Just when she was about to curse, finally, That man appeared. Michael's 6 feet 1 inch height made him stand out in the crowd. He was even more handsome in person than in the photos. How could anyone want to leave such a man? I had to stay focused. I checked my reflection in the mirror, perfect makeup. As he approached, I swung open the car door and stumbled right into his arms with a feigned oops.
Are you trying to scam me?
He took 2 steps back, and I fell straight to the ground. My head buzzed from the fall. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. I looked up in shock only to see his cold, unfeeling back.
Miss, you're blocking the way for others.
Dashing back into the car, I covered my face in embarrassment.
So, did he react to you? What was his first impression? Can you do this or not?
Everything is under control.
Good.
Her next message was a $10,000 reward. I accepted it tearfully. I just hoped Michael didn't remember my face. Within a few days, Sarah had Michael's schedule and got me into his next event.
At this party, you must showcase your talent and outshine everyone. Only then will he notice you.
Determined to clear up any misunderstandings, I prepared myself for the event. Everything is under control.
Good luck.
The day of the party, I wore the outfit Sarah prepared, rekindling my fighting spirit. At least half the men in the room stole glances at me. Normal men, at last.
And now, let's welcome our mystery guest to perform a piece for us.
Under the spotlight, I walked to the center stage and sat at the piano. A melodious tune began to play. I had invested a lot in learning this skill to attract high-quality men. I was in the zone until a fly buzzed by, annoying me and disrupting my concentration. My once perfect expression twisted. James, standing closest to me, wondered if I was unwell. Suddenly, I smacked the fly, and everyone stared in shock. My expression froze. What had I just done?
Miss, you.
Resisted the urge to cover my face, flipped my hair, and pretended to be calm.
Oh, everything is under control.
Under control of what?
The piano is nice, but a few keys were off, so I adjusted them. You know, I always strive for perfection.
Is this how you tune a piano? I didn't care to look at the strange expressions around me. The originally pleasant tune had turned into a solemn and stirring military march. When the piece ended, I didn't dare to look at Michael's expression. Great. A successful start, everything is under control. I found Michael in a corner. As expected of a 6 feet 1 inch CEO, his face was flawless from every angle. He wore a custom-made 3-piece suit and had his hair slicked back, exuding a cold and sharp aura. His eyes always seemed to carry a frosty indifference.
Hello. Do you remember me?
No.
Great, truly cold and heartless.
Can I be defeated by this small setback? Absolutely not.
I'm the lady you mistook for a scammer before. Although it was a misunderstanding, I still want to thank you for helping me up.
Michael finally deigned to look at me, staring for a while before slowly speaking.
I don't need a companion, especially one that's sagging.
Sagging? What's sagging? Where am I sagging?
John, you better explain yourself.
I'm not a companion. Have you ever seen such a high-class companion like me?
Are you blind?
Really?
Thanks, I feel insulted. I took a deep breath to calm down.
Why do you say I'm a companion?
Michael's gaze swept over my ankles without saying a word, but I understood. I felt a bit guilty for a moment. But I quickly realized, is this man not functioning properly? Any normal man, even if suspicious, would tacitly accept the advances of a beauty like me, right? Such a straight man deserves to marry a dumpling. Ahem, that's not right.
I don't understand what you mean, Michael.
Who cares what he thinks? I won't admit it. What can he do? After I finished speaking, I saw Michael's lips twitch. Exclamation point. Is this the legendary smirk exclusive to domineering CEOs? Damn, that's unfairly handsome. I almost surrendered. Quickly covering my heart, John, you're so devious. While my expression was changing dramatically, Michael had already turned and left. But can I let him just walk away? Absolutely not. I steeled myself and accidentally spilled my drink on him.
I'm sorry, I got distracted and my hand slipped. You won't blame me, right? Take it off quickly, I'll take it back to wash for you.
To be able to state my true intentions so smoothly, that's me. This washing back and forth, how can I not win you over? I pulled, huh? Why can't I pull it off? I frowned and looked over, never expecting Michael to guard his clothes like a young girl encountering a rogue, his expression as dark as the bottom of a pot.
I'm a great beauty offering to help you undress, and you make that face. What do you mean?
Isn't this role reversal?
I just want to help you wash it.
The next second, I was pushed away forcefully.
Get lost, don't touch me.
Amy. 21 years old. Capable in both the kitchen and the boardroom. A perfect woman you can't find even with a lantern. Now, here, at this ball. For the second time, rejected by the same man. To hell with the delicate persona. If I endure any longer, I'll be a ninja turtle. Damn you, John. I could no longer suppress my anger. Just then, I noticed the subtle glances from the people around us, and an idea struck me. Almost instantly, tears began to fall. The sudden crying seemed to startle Michael.
Why are you so mean to me? Sob, sob, sob.
I supported myself on the floor, looking up with a pitiful expression, and then dropped a bombshell.
I've already given you my innocence, why are you abandoning me? Why are you so cruel to me?
No problem. I guarantee that CEO Michael won't be able to walk away once he sees her. The next morning, I started preparing my weapons. According to the information, the mistress is a Jessica type, so Michael must like Jessica. Therefore, my style should lean towards Jessica, but with a unique twist. Combining my past research on men. 2 hours later, I sat painfully in a rented luxury car, waiting. Do you know how expensive it is to rent such a car for a day? Can the employer reimburse me, please? But for the sake of victory, all this effort is worth it. Just when I was about to curse, finally, that man appeared. Great. John, your name should be Troublemaker. But no worries, as clever as I am, I had anticipated this. Calmly, I took out 30 phone cards and switched to one of them to continue messaging Michael. This time, he responded.
Michael, I was the one at the party yesterday. I'm sorry for my irrational behavior that day, but please believe me, it was all because I love you. Let me introduce myself, my name is Amy.
Great, another red exclamation mark. I chuckled and switched to another card. Today, I'm determined to get through to you. And so, I diligently messaged him morning, noon, and night, like a devoted daughter. Michael's initial uncooperative attitude gradually softened. Of course, I refused to admit that he might just be too lazy to block my new numbers. A week later, Sarah asked me as usual.
How's the progress? Has he fallen for you yet?
It's going well.
What do you mean by going well?
I mean, Michael's attitude towards me has softened. Now he doesn't mind me messaging him.
Sarah was very pleased to hear this.
I knew I chose the right person.
You can count on me.
Just as I was about to flatter her some more, Sarah's tone changed, becoming heavy and slow.
That woman is going to show up.
That woman?
In a flash, I thought of the information about Jessica.
The other woman?
Yes! That homewrecker! This time I want her to feel what it's like to be abandoned by Daniel.
Daniel? Oh, Michael's full name.
Just tell me what you need me to do.
There's a party in 3 days. I'll be there with Daniel, and that woman will be there too. I want you to put her in her place. Show her who's boss. Let her know that if Daniel can fall for you, he can fall for someone else too.
Leave it to me, everything is under control.
Sarah hung up the phone, satisfied. Who would have thought that Amy could live a life of parties and high society events every 3 days? If it weren't for the mission, I might even snag a rich and handsome guy, haha. Before bed, I sent Michael a message as usual.
Good night, Michael. Today was another day of loving and missing you, mwah.
The message was so cheesy that it gave me goosebumps, so I quickly put down my phone, not noticing the typing. Notification at the top. The next day, I checked my phone, and as expected, there was no reply from John.
Good morning, Michael. It's another energetic day. I hope everything goes well for you today. P.S. Will you reply to me today? I'm so looking forward to it.
After sending the message, I happily went to pick out a dress. This time, I chose a modest, elegant beige dress, paired with an innocent makeup look. After all, I might have to confront Jessica. And people tend to sympathize with the one who looks more vulnerable. On the night of the party, Daniel and Sarah entered hand in hand, drawing all eyes to them. They looked like the stars of the evening. I had to admit, Daniel looked incredibly handsome in his dark brown suit. With his face, physique, and impressive credentials, he was the kind of man women would fight over. Soon, Jessica, the other woman, appeared. Just like in the photos, she had the face of a first love, a sweet smile, but her actions were anything but innocent. Yet men just fell for it. I shook my head in disapproval. What a world we live in. Suddenly, Jessica walked towards Michael and Sarah. The next morning, I began preparing my weapons.
According to the information, the mistress is a Jessica type, so Michael must like Jessica. Therefore, my style should lean towards Jessica, but with a unique twist. Combining my past research on men.
2 hours later, I sat painfully in a rented luxury car, waiting.
Do you know how expensive it is to rent such a car for a day? Can the employer reimburse me, please? But for the sake of victory, all this effort is worth it.
Just when I was about to curse, finally, that man appeared. Age matters. This delicate flower is actually 4 years older than me.
Really? I brushed my hair behind my ear and smiled shyly. You do look a few years older than me. I've always wanted a kind and caring older sister like you. My mom always said that women need to be a bit older to take care of others.
Grace squeezed my hand tightly. I smirked. Age is every woman's Achilles heel. Our eyes met in midair, sparks flying.
All right. Grace, let's go over there.
But Daniel, I just met Amy and want to chat with her a bit more.
She's holding a grudge.
I heard Amy is very talented and knows many things. She even performed as a mystery guest at a ball, playing the piano. So impressive.
Damn! This woman is deliberately bringing up the ball.
But this also means my sudden appearance had already caught her attention. As expected of a woman, she's sharp.
The Red Army March? Impressive.
He heard it. He really heard it. Feeling Sarah's puzzled gaze, I wished I could dig a hole and hide in it. Just let me socially perish.
This delicate flower is indeed tricky. No way. How can I, Amy, back down in front of Sarah? I silently chanted, 1 million, 1 million. My scattered thoughts gradually solidified.
I suddenly felt that in this world of decadence, we need songs from the hard times to promote positive energy. It's my duty, no need to thank me.
After I finished, the cold man seemed shocked by my wit. His lips twitched.
I didn't expect you to have such sentiments and magnanimity.
This time, it was Jessica's turn to have her smile freeze. But facing a rival, she clearly thought faster.
Since you're so talented, why don't we entertain everyone at this party together?
Entertain? No way. She wants to outshine me. I understood instantly and didn't flinch.
Sure, sister.
Jessica's eyes held a hidden challenge. Humph. Who's afraid of whom? I've practiced. With Daniel's approval, the stage was quickly set up. This time, it was a singing competition. Jessica went first, her silver dress shimmering under the lights. Her voice was undeniably beautiful, even I, as a woman, couldn't stop listening. Just as I was getting lost in her song, Jessica threw me a look. It was 5 parts innocent, 2 parts gentle, and 3 parts of challenge and hostility only I could see.
All right, woman, you're playing with fire. I'll soon show you what it means to be utterly humiliated.
After her song ended, the crowd applauded. This adoration made Jessica very pleased. As soon as she stepped off the stage, she threw herself into Daniel's arms, softly asking,
Daniel, did I sing well?
Very well.
Hearing this, Jessica smiled happily and handed me the microphone.
Sister, it's your turn. Don't disappoint us.
Of course, I won't let you down.
With that, I walked confidently onto the stage. If nothing else, singing is my forte. Standing in the center of the stage, I thought it had been a while since I sang. Maybe I should warm up my voice before the music starts?
So I started making sounds to myself. Ahem. Oh, Ah. Allah, Allah.
I varied the tones of these interjections, making them sound intricate and melodious. Satisfied, I nodded. Good, my voice is as strong as ever. Suddenly, I went.
Oh. A sudden wave of nausea hit me, making me retch uncontrollably. It was so intense that I couldn't react in time. I realized something and looked up. Everyone's eyes were on me, filled with surprise.
Oh no, I forgot to move the microphone away. They wouldn't think I'm some kind of monkey, would they? No worries. Once they hear my beautiful voice, they'll forget this awkward moment.
Another wave of retching hit me. That smell, it was so unique that it made me want to vomit immediately.
My face turned pale, and my eyes instinctively locked onto Jessica, who indeed looked smug. But when Michael looked over, she immediately put on a different face.
Sister, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell?
If you don't want to sing, don't force yourself.
His words were harsh as usual, but I sensed a different undertone.
Sister, are you expecting?
Expecting? I was furious. Still a virgin, and she throws this accusation at me, ruining my reputation.
You are expecting. Your whole family is expecting.
I didn't see Michael's eyes narrow suddenly.
Sister, if you're expecting, you shouldn't be out and about. You should take care of yourself.
I said, I'm not expecting.
Being expecting isn't a bad thing. How about I get a doctor for you, just in case something happens?
She called a waiter to dial 911.
Stop talking nonsense. You being expecting is more likely than me. I'm a decent person. I haven't done anything immoral. I don't need a checkup. Mind your own business.
Look at you, you're talking nonsense because of the pain. You need a checkup to be sure.
No wonder Sarah wanted someone to deal with her. She really wasn't easy to handle. Fine, I'll get checked. I'm not really expecting anyway. The checkup would clear my name. I was helped down by the waiter and sat nearby. The doctor and nurse arrived incredibly fast, in less than 10 minutes.
Do you need to draw blood?
Does it hurt?
This is a test. Follow my instructions.
So I took the test and went to the restroom in humiliation. I came out quickly and threw the test at the doctor.
Now, can you prove my innocence? How could I possibly be Nat?
Congratulations, miss! You are expecting. Congratulations on becoming a mother!
Congratulations. What? I tilted my head in confusion, doubting my ears. Pregnant? Mother? How could that be? What kind of joke is this?
Are you really pregnant?
How could I be? How can you conclude that I'm pregnant? I haven't even done that kind of thing.
This is the evidence. If you don't believe it, you can go to the hospital for an authoritative diagnosis.
He only told me how to use it, not how to read it. So I carelessly threw the test at him. But how could I be pregnant? Did I lose my memory? And had a forgotten encounter with someone?
No, no, no.
Is this your idea of love?
A voice, neither happy nor angry but full of mockery, suddenly cut through the air like a sharp blade, shattering my last bit of hope. I was too confused. So I ran. I ran in a daze, not caring about anything. I don't know how long I ran, but I finally stopped in a deserted place, my hand tentatively touching my flat stomach. Inside. Is there really a little life? The cold touch made me shiver. That day, I went to the hospital.
Your hymen is still intact. How could you be pregnant? Stop making a fuss. If you have time, you should get your head checked.
I had a lot to say but didn't know if I should say it. Grace, right? I'll remember you. Amy, won't let you off easily.
What's going on with you? Can you do this or not? You didn't tell me you were pregnant at the beginning. Or do you think even if you were pregnant, Daniel would still fall for you and become a dad?
You misunderstood. I'm not pregnant.
That's good.
Just when I thought the matter was settled, Sarah casually said.
You lost the first round.
Her words, though not harsh, felt like a slap in the face. Loud and clear.
Pregnancy was Grace's idea, the doctor was her contact, and the false accusation was her doing. She has a cunning mind, but don't you even know if you're pregnant or not?
I shouldn't have been led by Grace. Don't worry, I have more plans. Everything is under control.
This time, I was determined. After my repeated assurances and vows, Sarah finally left, though she accidentally left the contract behind. I knew it was intentional. I picked up the contract, several pages long, but it could be summarized in one sentence: 1 million if successful, 10,000 penalty if failed, and return all income from her during the period. In short, even the red envelopes had to be returned. I could end up deeply in debt overnight. I can't let that happen.
Michael, I'm not pregnant. My feelings for you are genuine.
Then I saw the long-lost red exclamation mark again. Damn. I swiftly changed to a new number, copied and pasted, then tossed my phone aside, not caring if he replied or not. For the next 3 days, I started following Michael. Opportunities like parties and galas don't come around often, and given my current disadvantage, I had to take the initiative. Otherwise, this mission would drag on indefinitely. After all, falling in love can happen in an instant or take a lifetime. I can't wait that long. Michael's schedule was surprisingly dull, either doing business at the company or on the way to do business, not even sparing a moment for Jessica. Anyone would think he was some kind of ascetic monk. But I sneered inwardly, so busy yet still finding time to stray, proving that men are all the same. Finally, on the 5th day, just as my patience was wearing thin, I got my chance. Michael went to a bar alone. Amidst the flashing lights and the crowd, Jessica wasn't there. Isn't this a golden opportunity? I followed him in with high spirits and sat in a corner. Michael, being Michael, attracted attention wherever he went with his looks and physique.
Hey handsome, alone? Mind if I join you?
No need.
Oh come on, we're all here to have fun, no need to be so aloof.
In this, she and I shared the same view. Men, what's the act for? I started counting down in my head, 10, 9. Michael took a sip of his drink, his voice slightly hoarse but even more alluring, exuding a strong masculine charm.
Leave.
8, 7. Being rejected like that, the woman's face turned sour, but not wanting to give up on such a rare catch, she restrained her urge to slap him and said,
Don't be so cold, let's have a drink and get to know each other.
6, 5, 4. Michael remained unmoved. The woman, holding back, boldly reached out to touch Michael, only to be pushed away harshly, stumbling back a few steps before looking up in disbelief.
What are you doing?
3, 2.
I don't need company like you.
Think I care about you? You're probably just impotent.
1. The woman stormed off in anger. I've seen this scene at least 10 times. From initial shock, so he's not just a jerk to me. To bewilderment, could it be, he only gets excited for Jessica? Is this love? To final numbness, oh, men, always unpredictable. I couldn't help but wonder, did he have a disagreement with Jessica these past few days, hence avoiding her and drinking alone? Whatever the reason, tonight, he's mine. Sorry, ladies. But I wouldn't foolishly approach him and get rejected in 10 seconds. 2 hours later, Michael could really drink. I almost fell asleep waiting for him to finally slump over the table, drunk. I sprang up like a cat smelling fish. Quickly walking over to Michael, I cautiously asked, Michael, hello? Are you awake? Do you know who I am? He sluggishly lifted his head at the sound, the coldness in his eyes melted by the alcohol, revealing a side unknown to others. I clutched my chest. He may be a jerk, but he's undeniably handsome. After seeing such a perfect specimen, how could I ever look at other men the same way?
You.
My eyes twinkled. He was so drunk he probably couldn't push me away, right? So I boldly touched his face, whispering seductively. Your face is so hot. No man can resist a woman whispering in his ear. Sure enough, Michael frowned. The skin behind his ears gradually turned red. I smiled slightly. Do you want me to take you home? It's dangerous to be drunk alone. As I spoke, my other hand mischievously roamed over Michael's broad back. Like a feather, bringing an unbearable itch and a secret thrill wherever it touched.
Next morning, I began preparing my weapons.
According to my research, Michael was fond of a certain type, often represented by Jessica. Hence, my style needed to reflect that, but with a unique twist. After combining my past studies on men, I was ready.
2 hours later, I sat in a rented luxury car, waiting. The expense was steep, but for the sake of victory, it would be worth it. Just as I was about to curse my luck, he appeared.
Michael's handsome brows furrowed deeply as he approached.
Take your hand away.
I asked, What's wrong with my hand?
Get away.
This was the first time I saw such a range of expressions on his face. I couldn't help but feel a mischievous urge. No, I can't leave you here alone. There are so many pretty ladies around, what if they get to you?
No need, mind your own business.
But I want to take care of you. Can you say something else for me?
You!
Not talking anymore? All right then. I feigned disappointment, then quickly pecked his lips. Michael's pupils contracted at my boldness. That doesn't count as a kiss. No tongue involved, so it doesn't count. All for the mission.
I like fiery women, not sweet ones.
What? What does that mean? So why have I been pretending to be sweet all this time? Fortunately, my professional skills are solid. I quickly changed my demeanor. You like fiery ones? How about this, is it okay?
How about I dance for you? I walked towards the dance floor, then suddenly turned around, staring straight at Michael, my hands moving seductively. My bold dance moves caught his attention.
All this persistence finally showed clear results. Gradually, I danced towards Michael, who welcomed me with his fiery gaze. I fell into his arms, hooked his tie with my hand, and softly asked, Are you satisfied with my dance, Michael?
Satisfied.
His handsome face magnified in my eyes, his strong scent of alcohol enveloping me. He actually kissed me. Instinctively, I held his lips, the taste rich and delicious. The next second, as I was dazed, something slipped in.
The morning sun filtered through the curtains as I began to prepare my weapons.
According to the information, the mistress is a Jessica type, so Michael must like Jessica. Therefore, my style should lean towards Jessica, but with a unique twist, combining my past research on men.
2 hours later, I sat painfully in a rented luxury car, waiting.
Do you know how expensive it is to rent such a car for a day? Can the employer reimburse me, please? But for the sake of victory, all this effort is worth it.
Just when I was about to curse, finally, that man appeared.
How did you know? What do you mean?
The time for revenge had come. I pretended to be shy, covering my face with one hand.
Michael was so intense last night. I really don't want to say, but I didn't know he already had a sister. How does he still have so much energy?
With that, Jessica's face turned as white as a sheet, her fingers clenched into fists, and she looked like she wanted to hit me.
Michael loves my body so much, he wouldn't mind this little thing, right?
If he's still angry, I can just offer myself to him again.
I don't believe you. You're lying.
Then why don't you ask Michael yourself? You know how men are.
Men are just like that.
This sentence hit Jessica right in the heart. She started to overthink. If she called to question him and it turned out to be false, that would be fine. But if it was true? Men, who doesn't like having multiple options? She herself was the other woman. If she confronted him, Michael might just. No. She couldn't let that happen. Jessica was still somewhat strategic. She quickly changed her approach.
Sister, it was all a misunderstanding earlier. Don't take it to heart.
I blinked, curious to see what she would do next. I was in an unprecedentedly good mood. She had slandered my reputation before. Now it was my turn to make her suffer in silence.
We can actually talk this out.
How?
As long as you're willing to leave Daniel, I'll promise to give you $1 million. Don't be angry, sister. It's just that Daniel ultimately loves me. Even if he likes your body now, he'll eventually get tired of it and come back to me. It would be a waste for you to end up with nothing. Why not take the $1 million and leave? Don't you think so?
Tempted? It's impossible not to be tempted. After all, Sarah only offered $1 million. Instead of wasting more time with Michael, it would be better to take the $1 million and disappear.
Can you really give me $1 million?
Of course, I've been with Daniel for so long. Do you think I wouldn't have $1 million? Don't worry, as long as you agree, I'll definitely give you the $1 million.
She didn't know that her first sentence revealed she didn't have the money. Who directly transfers money in a relationship? Michael mostly gave luxury gifts, right? Although Jessica had hinted at money transfers a few times, she wasn't frugal with spending either. How could she have savings? I thought she had other sources of income besides Michael's money. But from her words, it was clear she relied on Michael to live. I underestimated her.
Heh.
Jessica mistakenly thought I believed her and continued.
As long as you leave, once I get rid of that other woman and become Mrs. Michael, I'll have more rewards for you.
Does she think I'm a fool? Trying to trick me with empty promises and expecting me to gamble on her relationship with Michael?
No, I truly love Michael.
Jessica's eyes widened, not expecting that after all she said, I was still stubborn.
You?
The door is there, see yourself out.
Jessica, maintaining her dignity, stormed out. Just as she was about to close the door, she turned back.
You'll regret this, Amy.
Oh. Well, let's wait and see if I regret it.
Amy put on a nonchalant expression, which only made Jessica angrier. Perfect. Complete silence. She leisurely took out her phone and clicked save.
Even if Grace could really offer me $1 million, so what? I have professional ethics. If this gets out, who would dare hire me? I know the difference between a one-time feast and a lifetime of meals.
Besides, Sarah had already given her a $50,000 deposit. Looking at the bank balance, Amy felt quite pleased.
From the last bar operation, I had found the right direction. This time, I would approach him directly. Unlike before, this time I would be as seductive as possible. Make him unable to resist.
When Sarah learned about Amy's previous success, she arranged for someone to follow Michael, so Amy wouldn't have to do the hard work herself. On the third day, the front line reported that Michael was alone at the swimming pool.
What a golden opportunity! I was worried that a formal setting would make it hard for me to use my tactics. But a swimming pool! That's perfect.
Amy looked at the sexy black bikini in her wardrobe and smiled confidently. There's no way he won't be tempted. The day was clear, with a gentle breeze that felt very comfortable. The swimming pool was luxurious and outdoors. The poolside was lined with greenery, and the ground was paved with small stones, giving it a classic and elegant look. After all, it's a place Michael frequents, so it had to be high-end. Wearing the bikini that highlighted her attractive figure, with her delicate face adorned with waterproof makeup, Amy could be both alluring and innocent. No man could resist.
Under the admiring gazes of others, I casually flipped my hair, revealing my delicate collarbones and hot figure.
Hey, beautiful, are you alone?
Shoo, not for long.
She walked straight to the VIP area. With Sarah's help, she got in without any trouble and immediately saw a breathtaking scene. John was swimming alone, his lean and powerful arms moving rhythmically, creating splashes of water.
But that wasn't the main point. The main point was his abs. 8-pack. 8-pack. I knew Michael had a good physique, but I didn't expect a desk job to give him 8-pack abs. I almost drooled at the sight.
While she was in a daze, Michael had already swum a lap and was getting out of the pool.
Michael, what a coincidence, we meet again.
Michael just glanced at her and started drying his hair.
Aren't you curious how I got here?
By now, Amy was standing half a step in front of him, teasingly avoiding the question.
Of course, because I miss you, Michael. I couldn't sleep thinking about you, so I had to see you again.
Miss me?
I love you, Michael, so of course, I miss you.
Michael's eyes deepened, finally looking at her directly, and said mockingly,
You said you loved me last time, and then you were expecting.
Amy's expression stiffened, and she playfully scolded him.
I already explained. I'm still a virgin, how could I be expecting?
As she spoke, she got closer and closer, her whole body almost touching his, and quickly touched his abs, then she was caught.
You're playing with fire.
Just as she was feeling awkward, Michael's cold but strangely heated voice came from above.
Amy, do you want to bring about your own downfall?
With that, he tightened his grip. I'm not afraid of you.
If I have to go down, I'll go down with you. You're hurting me.
The grip on my wrist tightened instead of loosening, and the next second, my head was forced up.
Do you really like me?
His long, deep eyes seemed to draw me in, and the heat radiating from his face made my legs feel weak. My sixth sense told me something was off, but I had no choice but to go through with it.
Of course. I've liked you for a long time. I find ways to see you every now and then, hoping you'll remember me. I care for you more than I do my own father. To be worthy of you, I've learned so many things just to one day stand by your side. Even if there's no official title. I just want you to love me.
As I spoke, I got so into it that I even squeezed out a few tears. Not bad, even I almost believed it. Michael scrutinized me from forehead to chin, finally stopping at my eyes.
I'm just a girl, losing face so many times to chase someone I like. I feel wrong too, but I'm more afraid you'll dislike me and not accept me.
Those words had a bit of truth to them. It was truly embarrassing and frustrating. After speaking, I tentatively wrapped my arms around his waist, our skin touching intimately. Michael didn't refuse.
You're hurting me.
A few seconds later, the grip on my wrist loosened silently.
I smiled inwardly. Men, once they soften for a woman, how long can they resist?
Just as I was feeling smug, Michael suddenly lowered his head and kissed me again. I instinctively widened my eyes. Stay calm. This time I must stay calm, not like last time. Wait, thinking of last time, I got distracted. Did he really forget? Then the slap I gave him should be fine, right?
Ow.
Is this man part dog? Why does kissing involve biting? Michael's handsome brows furrowed slightly, his eyes sharp, as if warning me not to get distracted. I immediately behaved. My jaw was forced open, and for the next 3 minutes, I was almost constantly on the verge of suffocation. This was also my first real kiss. Not just a peck, not just a taste. This feeling was so strange. I couldn't tell if it was good or bad, but him kissing me must mean he's a bit interested, right? As the kiss continued, Michael grew dissatisfied with the status quo, his long fingers starting to wander over my body, especially near the string on my back. At that moment, I almost lost it. I didn't want to experience such an intense moment with the target of my mission. But I held back. Not only did I hold back, but I also displayed exceptional professionalism, finding the nearest surveillance camera and striking a provocative pose. His hand continued to linger on my body, and I was really afraid he might do something here. I was too stiff to move. Michael sensed my tension, paused, and surprisingly stopped. I looked up in surprise, feeling that he actually stopped. Someone as domineering and forceful as him actually stopped?
That's enough for today. Seemingly understanding my thoughts, Michael steadied his breath and said hoarsely, "You can go now."
According to the plan, I should stay, as such a precious opportunity could rapidly advance our relationship. But work is work, I'm not here to sell myself, and besides, I've already achieved my goal. So I stepped out of his embrace and turned around.
Daniel.
I paused.
Call me Daniel from now on.
Names are special. For a proud man to willingly tell someone his name signifies a certain level of acknowledgement. I was sure he was genuinely interested.
All right, Daniel.
He didn't respond. After leaving the swimming pool, I asked Sarah to retrieve the surveillance footage and capture a few provocative photos of me.
I didn't expect you to act so quickly. I thought Daniel truly loved Grace. Ha, he's just like any other man. I thought she was something special. You did well.
I hadn't fully recovered from the earlier shock, so I just mumbled a few responses.
Send these to Grace. It's a pity we can't see her furious face.
All right.
This was exactly what Amy was hoping for. Who told Grace to mess with someone as petty as Amy?
Photos were quickly sent to Grace, and almost immediately she called. Amy, have you no shame?
We're both in the same boat, one is Jessica, the other is Samantha. Neither of us can judge the other.
Daniel loves me.
Yes, his heart loves you, but his body loves me.
Grace couldn't maintain her composure anymore and snapped. Amy, you wretch. I'll make sure Daniel comes back to me. Just wait and see.
Come on, lady. You have neither the figure nor the looks. What are you going to compete with me on?
Who are you calling a lady?
Whoever is older should know it.
Grace was so angry she almost fainted.
Amy, don't get too cocky. Just wait. Daniel will be back with me soon, and you won't see him again.
Are you that afraid of him seeing me? Judging by your frantic reaction, Daniel hasn't even touched you yet, has he?
Grace choked.
No way, you've been with him for so long, and he hasn't even touched you?
This joke could keep Amy laughing for a year. No, she couldn't laugh alone. She'd share this with Sarah later.
That night, Amy happily received a $20,000 bonus.
Life is so beautiful. Success in her career made her particularly motivated, so she eagerly messaged Michael.
Good evening, Michael. Today is another day of Amy missing you.
Scrolling up, it was all her one-sided conversation. Just when she thought he wouldn't reply again, her phone buzzed. She was surprised to see a new message.
I remember we just met this afternoon.
This is the first time you've replied to my message in so long. I need to take a screenshot. What if I'm dreaming?
It's not.
The difference was stark, like night and day.
So, will you reply to my messages from now on?
This time, Michael didn't reply for a long time. Amy got impatient, tossed her phone aside, and went to have dinner. When she came back, there was still no reply. She felt a bit disheartened, wondering if she had overstepped, but she couldn't bring herself to ask again. In a fit of pique, Amy went to bed. Just as she lay down, her phone lit up with a faint glow, showing a message at the top.
Yes.
After that, out of 10 messages Amy sent, Michael would at least reply to 1 or 2. This made her even more enthusiastic in her pursuit. It took her a while to realize that she had unknowingly become a sycophant. Well, it's all for the mission.
UT relying solely on texting for this old-fashioned online romance wasn't enough. Amy needed to take the initiative.
I'm so hungry, but I don't want to eat alone.
Come on, book a Michelin-starred restaurant and treat her to a candlelit dinner. Anticipation.
Mike kept hoping until 3 in the afternoon.
Busy.
What happened to the romance? Just this? Fine. Do you have billions of dollars worth of deals to discuss, busy like this? Oh, he's a CEO, and he really might be discussing business deals. Honestly, if Amy had to choose between a top-notch man and billions of dollars, she'd also choose the latter without hesitation. The bitter truth. Wait, what was she thinking? Making Michael fall head over heels for her, choosing beauty over business, isn't that one of her goals?
Suddenly, Michael sent another message.
I'm free at 8 tonight.
I jumped up, overjoyed. My charm was undeniable. Holding my phone, I looked at it from every angle, kissed the screen, and then modestly put it down.
I'm not someone who comes and goes at a man's beck and call. Let him wait. Who told him to reply to my message so late? Humph.
After slowly picking out my outfit, I finally replied with a high and mighty tone.
All right, how about you come pick me up tonight?
The message sank like a stone again. Soon, it was time for our date. Michael hadn't replied since then, nor had he asked for my address. I wasn't worried at all. I put on a sexy little dress and applied lipstick in front of the mirror.
Perfect.
A knock on the door. I grabbed my bag and opened it. There stood Michael, in a formal black suit, looking travel-worn. The suit didn't make him look old, instead, it added a mature and unique charm, making him seem unattainable. Yet this unattainable man had come to pick me up for dinner.
What are you standing there for?
Oh. Narrator, friendly, I walked ahead to cover it up. The man behind me raised an eyebrow and followed.
A low-key luxury car was parked downstairs. Without thinking, I got in, and Michael followed.
You called me out so suddenly, I didn't have time to prepare, I just threw on something casual. You won't mind, will you? Narrator, serious after speaking, I flipped my hair.
No.
Know what? This is my first time going out with you.
MM.
The atmosphere suddenly became silent. I couldn't believe it, staring wide-eyed. The car started slowly. Robert, the driver, drove towards the hotel with tacit understanding. What happened next completely exceeded my expectations. Michael, who had been cold before, suddenly became very attentive. He opened the car door for me, led me into a high-end hotel, pulled out a chair for me, handed me the menu. All his actions were so natural and gentlemanly.
This place is really nice. Can you bring me here often?
You haven't even eaten yet.
I meant the environment. The ambience is great. I really like it here. Will you bring me again?
Depends on your behavior.
After chatting for a while, the waiter arrived.
Sir, madam, your steak is ready.
Thank you. Amy, Coy, can you cut it for me?
Michael glanced at me. Although his expression wasn't as gentle as it was with Jessica, he didn't say anything and took my steak to cut it.
You're so nice, thank you, Michael. I'm so envious of Grace for having such a great boyfriend like you. Unlike me, all alone. Daniel can do everything, even cut steak so well. You're amazing. When will I have a boyfriend as wonderful as Daniel, and Mem?
Michael, unable to bear it, fed me a piece of steak with a fork.
No talking while eating.
It's so delicious.
John's eyes deepened, and just as I was about to say something, I met his warning gaze.
Fine. If he doesn't want to talk, I won't talk. I won't admit that I chickened out.
After a while of silence, I felt uneasy about letting this perfect opportunity pass by so quietly, so I boldly extended my foot to gently brush against Michael's leg.
Isn't he into bold and fiery types? I'll give him a little thrill.
Sure enough, Michael's movements paused, and he looked up at me sharply.
What's the matter?
His eyes shifted from cold to heated, and finally to a calm restraint. His handsome face became even more alluring.
At that moment, I suddenly understood why Jessica was willing to stay with him without any official status. A man like Michael seemed destined not to belong to just one woman. But it's precisely this kind of man that ignites a woman's desire to conquer. I was no exception. If Grace could become Daniel's one and only gentle touch, then I could replace her.
The light friction between my thin stockings and his trousers, the feather-like touch, ignited a blazing fire.
Do you want to do this here?
Huh? No way, is he thinking what I think he's thinking?
The next second, my ankle was grabbed.
What are you doing?
You're nervous.
His thumb slowly rubbed my ankle, sending shivers through me. Just when I couldn't take it anymore, he suddenly released my foot.
I'm not. Don't you like me this way?
Do you know the consequences of attracting a mature man?
Of course I do. Fall in love with me, and then he won't dare to say no to me.
Then why did you push me away last time?
Last time? Could it be that time at the bar, he still remembers?
If you're not ready, don't flirt with me. A man isn't something you can stop at will.
My face turned pale.
I'm not afraid.
Unexpectedly, Michael didn't play by the rules.
Really? Then I'll cancel tonight's video conference, and you can come home with me.
Damn! I was too hasty. Is it too late to say I'm scared now?
Michael saw my regret but continued as if he hadn't noticed.
I'm not a saint. I'm very satisfied with your body. Since you seduced me first, you have to help me deal with it.
Actually, my period just started today.
Michael looked at me with a half smile, not saying anything for a long time.
I couldn't take it anymore, and tears started to fall, one by one, faster and faster.
Why are you crying?
You know I'm not ready, yet you still bully me. Boo-hoo.
I didn't force you to pursue me.
Do you think I want to pursue you like this? Boo-hoo. I'm a person who hasn't even held hands with anyone, and now I have to skip dating and go straight to bed. I don't want that either.
Michael's eyes suddenly sharpened, narrowing.
Pursuing me is a grievance for you?
I do love you and want to have a proper relationship. But there are so many people around you, and Grace. You're so gentle with her. I have nothing, I can't compete with her.
Michael looked at me.
I thought you liked pure girls, so I acted pure, but when you said you liked fiery ones, I acted fiery for you. Just like Grace said, I have no education, no background, just a face that's somewhat presentable. People like me are born to be played with by men, discarded when they're bored.
I subtly badmouthed Grace, crying my heart out.
I don't dare to compete with Grace, I just want to love you. All I have is this body, and if it can make you like me a little, I'm willing to give it to you. But I'm really scared, boo-hoo.
The latter part became more incoherent, making it seem like a genuine emotional outburst. Seeing Michael's gradually softening expression, I mentally gave myself a thumbs up. Everything was under control. I didn't know how long I cried, but suddenly, cool fingers wiped my cheek. The next morning, I started preparing my weapons.
Whispering to herself, according to the information, the mistress is a Jessica type, so Michael must like Jessica. Therefore, my style should lean towards Jessica, but with a unique twist. Combining my past research on men.
2 hours later.
Sadly, do you know how expensive it is to rent such a car for a day? Can the employer reimburse me, please? But for the sake of victory, all this effort is worth it.
Just when I was about to curse, finally, that man appeared.
No problem. I guarantee that CEO Michael won't be able to walk away once he sees her.
The next morning, Amy began preparing her weapons. According to her intel, Michael's mistress had a Jessica-like appeal. So, Amy decided to adopt a style reminiscent of Jessica, but with her unique twist.
Combining my past research on men.
2 hours later, Amy sat uncomfortably in a rented luxury car, waiting.
Do you know how expensive it is to rent such a car for a day? Can the employer reimburse me, please? But for the sake of victory, all this effort is worth it.
Just when she was about to curse, finally, the man appeared.
What are you planning to do?
I'm not some naive girl without any schemes. When Grace approached me, I sensed something was off. I didn't bring it up because I felt I had no right. And I didn't want you to think I'm a manipulative woman.
As soon as I finished speaking, Grace lunged at me. I sidestepped, and the next second the recording played, capturing her desperate expression.
No.
As long as you're willing to leave Daniel, I promise to give you $1 million. Sister, don't be angry. It's just that Daniel ultimately loves me. Even if he enjoys being with you now, he'll eventually tire of it and come back to me. It would be a waste of time for you, so you might as well take the $1 million and leave. Don't you think so? Once I become Mrs. Michael, there will be more rewards.
Every word was undeniable evidence. Jessica's face twisted with rage.
Amy.
She could hardly bear to look at Michael's expression.
You told her to leave? I don't remember giving you permission to do that.
Grace's tears flowed uncontrollably.
Daniel, let me explain. I just care about you so much that I...
Don't call me Daniel.
Under the scorching sun, Grace felt a bone-chilling cold. I watched her despair with indifference. She deserved it. If she dared to disrupt another's life, she should be prepared for consequences.
I'm sorry you had to go through this.
Would someone like him actually apologize? If it were any other time, I might have been swayed by his handsome face, but now, looking at Grace, I felt a strange heaviness in my heart. When a man likes you, you're his world. When he doesn't, he can be tender to another while you cry. After that day, Michael gradually distanced himself from Jessica, almost never seeing her. Instead, he started seeking me out. Seeing that the task was almost complete, I became cold. Michael, however, seemed oblivious and became even more gentle, almost as he had been with Grace. I felt a chill down my spine. I didn't want to see him anymore.
As expected of Amy, this cooperation has been delightful. Everything is under control.
When will the task be considered complete?
When Grace is completely out of the picture. A woman like her, who appears pure but is actually ruthless, might try to win Daniel back and make a comeback.
Her worry was indeed valid.
Amy, put in a bit more effort, win Daniel's heart, and then use him to drive Grace away. Nothing would hurt her more than being driven away by the man she loves.
All right. As you wish.
Amy, don't overthink it. This is just a task, and it's almost complete. Suppressing a certain emotion in my heart, I dutifully played the role of a devoted admirer again.
Good morning, Daniel. Did you miss me today? I missed you so much. I wish I could see you as soon as I opened my eyes.
Less than half an hour after sending the message, there was a knock on the door. The next morning, I woke up early, ready to execute my plan. My weapons were a carefully curated look designed to capture CEO Michael's attention.
According to my intel, Michael has a type, Jessica. So, I'll mimic her style, but with my unique twist.
Combining my past research on men, I finally prepared myself. 2 hours later, I was sitting in a rented luxury car, waiting.
Do you know how expensive it is to rent this car for a day? I hope my employer can reimburse me, but for the sake of victory, it's worth it.
Just as I was about to lose hope, he appeared. The next morning, Amy was determined to execute her plan flawlessly.
No problem. I guarantee that CEO Michael won't be able to walk away once he sees her.
She started preparing her weapons. According to the information, the mistress had a Jessica-like appeal. So, Amy decided to adopt a similar style but with her unique twist. Combining her past research on men, she spent 2 hours getting ready.
This better work.
Amy sat uncomfortably in a rented luxury car, waiting. The cost of renting such a car for a day was exorbitant.
Can the employer reimburse me, please? But for the sake of victory, all this effort is worth it.
Just when she was about to curse her luck, finally, Michael appeared.